So it's been a while since I've done a Facebook Live from my bed. Oh my gosh. Well, I don't feel like going into my office and doing a Facebook Live because I'm not like trying to do any kind of studying right now. But I wanted to talk about that I'm not dying from whatever frequency shifts that happen. I want you to hear like when I'm in the middle of dealing with it. It's not like, oh gosh, how do I say it? It's not like you're like laid out flat and I'm coughing and sneezing. I mean, I was last night, like a couple hours ago, but I was getting everything out and I released some demons right now. But I mean, I'm a little bit tired, but it's just like these frequency shifts, okay? Strength is not paving the way for a died suddenly or a type of cancer diagnosis. And what do I mean by that? Strength is the ability to release what could be a died suddenly in the future and what could be a cancer diagnosis. Because I remember yesterday in the middle of the night when I told you guys I was going to take a day off because I had to get over something. Yesterday night at 3 a.m., I was coughing out so much stuff, blowing my nose. It like happened just like that. It was as if, now this is the thing, it's not like it happened like that, like all of a sudden it just spontaneous growth. No, the weekend before, this last weekend, hanging out with my husband, and I've had the hives and all that, not a big deal. I was fine like on Sunday, but though I took the weekend off, I was fine Saturday and Sunday. And yesterday was Tuesday, and before that was Monday. So I might have done a 2-hour thing on Monday. And then Tuesday was when the body had the strength. Remember, I was talking about Genghis Khan and how I was channeling Genghis Khan because my genetic line probably goes all the way back to the ancient days of China. And so I was channeling Genghis Khan. I was so strong and really just amped up because the atmosphere is amped up. And so I was like feeling so strong. And then I'm just like, okay. And then it was yesterday at 3 a.m. when things just all of a sudden, my immune system was pushing everything through. And that's when I started feeling all the growth. Like my nose was just lighting up and I had to blow my nose. And that was yesterday. And then I was sleeping a little bit intermittently yesterday, but not a lot. I didn't sleep a lot. I really did not. I tried to lay down and go to sleep, but it was hard. But it was this morning also, I was blowing my nose and blowing my nose and blowing my nose. And so it's just like the last 2 nights, blowing my nose, blowing my nose, blowing my nose. So that right now during climate change, that's what it's going to take, or else all that growth that happens during the frequency changes when you start feeling something, because really when you start blowing your nose, it's because of something happened a couple of days ago. See, people don't realize that when they feel the growth, well, when they have to blow their nose and they get sick, it's because of a frequency change that happened probably a week ago that finally metastasized and finally came through the respiratory system. And then you get a few hives as well. And so I couldn't say that yesterday at 71 degrees from a 30-degree difference. Yes, that was probably another catalyst to push, to activate my immune system to start pushing out the growth. Now, could I say this growth was something like from antibiotic, from something? Well, yeah, everything out there is antibiotic. You just have an immune system, develop a probiotic, which is you, and develop an offspring, which is your immune system, to push out the demons, but you don't let those offspring become too numerous. And so no matter what, you're always going through an energy conversion, a fornication at the micro level and a fornication at the macro level if it gets that bad. I mean, it gets that bad. Well, when you hold so many of those little offspring inside. And so if I had not, the last couple of days, blew my nose, and rest and ate and fed all of that, and I would want to treat it, which people do. They treat their disease. They take all their different pills and herbs and extracts. And so they might be fine, right? They're doing their stuff. They might be fine. But what happens is down the road, they will pay for all of that temporary type of gifts of being able to be so active, especially when you haven't paid for the sins of the father. And that's really what it comes down to, is that the last 7 years, I paid for the sins of the father, sins of the mother. What does that mean? Everything that was ever done that was damaging to my genetic line and to myself, what I did or what my ancestors did, I had to pay for that. And which means I had to cough, sneeze, blow my nose, feel the burn, feel the heat, feel all the symptoms without treating disease eventually. Because I would, in the beginning of the J world, we were doing a little bit of the garlic oil and the colloidal silver, and then we got away from that. And then we're doing food mitigation, like diets, in the beginning of the J world, and we got away from that. Now it's all food is necessary. Okay? And so then just now eating all food, releasing the demons, feeling everything, laying down, staying home, staying safe. I mean, it's a total, completely lifestyle change. And it means that I wasn't getting sick like this so much all the time, that I would feel more of just the fatigue and the headache and all that stuff and the weird feelings when I had the PMDD. So I didn't know how to explain to my boss, well, I got PMS again. And so I'd be making up elaborate stories like, oh, I got the flu again, or I got this again, or I got that again, or I don't know. It just became so exhausting trying to make up stories because I was so sensitive to the environment that every month, some would be worse than others, but every month it would just be like, I'd do awesome one month, and I'd try to try to get through, and each new place I would go to, I could be sick, because that's, when you go to a new place, whether it's a year or whatever, you're allowed to have those sick days, but then it just, yeah. When you're so sensitive to the environment, and you don't really want to be on drugs. How many people want to be on drugs their whole life so they can just go to work and be a zombie and just do their job and be a zombie, or sacrifice their body, mind, and spirit for their work by taking the drugs and the operations and all that? I didn't have enough body to me, when you think about it, to be on those drugs for all. I mean, not that anybody does, but for me, I was looking for stuff, They didn't really have anything on the market. They had birth control pills. I took those. But I was lucky. My condition of PMDD was not a recognizable situation, which meant that there was nothing out there for me, which meant that I had to actually deal with this shit. Literally, I had to deal with it. I had to make up the stories that I had the flu again, to deal with all the climate change. Because even before this last 2019, 2018 pandemic, there was climate changes going on back then. Okay? But you didn't call it that. You called it cold and flu season, you called it spring allergy season, you called it some other type of season, and then you had the big storms, and then people get sick, and they don't know why they get sick, or it got cold and people get sick. So now with these frequency changes, now I could actually, I don't have to lie and say, oh God, I got the flu again, because I don't say I got the flu because I don't have it diagnosed. But I'll tell you, when it's 3 o'clock in the morning, and and I knew I had the hives on Saturday night, hanging out with my husband, okay, because I had sweating a little bit. I mean, I wasn't feeling sick, but I had the hives. I was itching, but I wasn't feeling sick. It was itching. But then I realized if I'm itching like that, okay, regardless if I had something left in me from the last 7, 20, 30, 50, 40 years, or it's just that the frequency change caused the growth, it doesn't matter. I would have to then deal with the next few days. Well, I feel okay the next day or so, and then it'll be take that one night when all that growth is finally being pushed through the system. Like I would feel the hot and cold even before that, and then it was yesterday night where I just felt all this coming up to my nose, and I'm blowing it out. Yesterday, I'm blowing it out today, blowing it out last night, this morning, just blowing my nose. I've been going through so many rags, but that's what it takes. For my husband, it's like he has so much body to him that whatever he gets exposed to, I'm not saying it's aging him. I can't. He looks good to me still. He hasn't hit the wall, like when you think about it. And so he has a body to him to deal with the growth and release, and he poops it out, and okay. But I'm smaller than him, so I have to feel this shit. Literally, I have to feel it, and it hits me differently than it hits him. And so yeah. Anyway, so I'm taking a day off because I'm just gonna chill out and relax, because I didn't really sleep very well last night. That's why I was listening to all those videos about Sumer and about the Gilded Age and all that. So in the middle of the night when I can't sleep and I want to listen to something, I'll listen to the news, and then I'll listen to all the different historical stuff. Because eventually I will go over that. But right now, I mean, I just don't have the energy to go through maybe potentially 2 hours of information. Because when you think about history, like antiquity and way back in the cradle of civilization, that takes a lot. I don't want to half-ass it. But I wanted to kind of give you an update that, yeah, if you guys are feeling stuff, which I hope you are, because it means you're releasing, you know, take the time. And if you are at work, I know it's tough when you have to go to work. I hope you get really sick where your body can really push out some stuff, and then you feed it and you gain back life that you lost through all the different remedies and things that were done in the past. And that you also, I hopefully that you guys do pay for the sins of your father and your mother, because I'll give you another lease on life, literally, because that's what it's going to take. You really want to be so sick and you know you survive it, because that way you know in the future when shit goes really aggressive, which it will, that you'll survive it. If you can survive the aggressive sicknesses in your body today through these energy conversions, then the future is pretty much wide open. And that's what I mean by provoking wars in your body, by not treating stuff, by just feeding it and releasing, by coughing and sneezing and blowing your nose and releasing down there the way I said in my book, and just characterizing everything correctly. That's not something bad. Disease is not bad. It's just the fact that we've been trained to be a slave and to compromise our body, mind, and spirit for somebody else, because we want to stay in the game, or we want to drink and smoke and do drugs. And I don't do that anymore. I really don't. I don't have any kind of desire to do that, because I know what I'll pay for it later. I know all that growth from drugs and alcohol and crazy amounts of sex and all of that, you will pay for it later, and it will be with your life. And that's what I figured out, is that if you really want to see the new world, you got to change the way you do things. If you think the new world is going to be horrible because you have this perception that someone is trying to destroy your husband or your wife through the medical holistic system, then you're sealing the fate for your kids. If you can't even figure out that no matter what, even not being, see, here's the thing, I was never V'd, VACCINE at all. I was never V'd. I was never given a public therapy, even people think I did, but no. My husband got a tetanus shot when he had glass in his eye about a couple of years ago. But and he had no reaction to it. But I was never V'd, okay? And even and my husband was never V'd either, except for that tetanus shot. I'm not going to blame my sickness on that one little tetanus shot from the shedding, okay? I'm not going to blame any of this sickness stuff on anyone else out there, because it's not their fault. What do you mean it's not their fault? Because no matter what, when you're going through frequency changes, such as what's going on with all this crazy climate change, it's going to bring up growth in your body, and it's going to bring up all kinds of growth. And some of that growth will be worse than others relative to how many colony forming units of antibodies that were supposed to be released but were stopped because of the remedies are going to try to come out and be pushed out. And your body has to release. Your husband's body has to release those antibodies. So does your kids' bodies, and so does your body. And so no matter what, taking the remedies and the ivermectins and all that, you sealed your own fate by compounding the problem, when you could have just released the demons and ate food, but you wouldn't have known that, because you were raised with taking remedies. You were raised with taking all the different anti-parasitics and antibacterials and antifungals and antibiotics and antibacterials. And so when you're raised with that, taking all the herbal remedies and supplements and extracts and detoxes, then you're going to think because someone's blaming the V over here, that's the whole issue of the whole pandemic, but not realizing that actually the holistic world contributes even on a more aggressive basis, because they think it's safer than taking the public health therapies, when actually it makes it worse. Because you take a public health therapy, you take it like one time or twice, people are taking their remedies. Like literally the remedies are elderberry syrup, like every fucking day, every week, every single time they feel something, they're taking something. That's worse than a public health therapy, because you're actually causing more offspring every single time you're taking an antibiotic, a natural remedy, a holistic remedy, a supplement, a detox. And so it's kind of like the public health therapy system is actually laughing at those who are turning to the ivermectins, turning to all the different things on the market. And so, yeah, that's the world that you live in right now. And so I'm right now, I'm willing to just chill out. I don't need to work myself so hard. I do want to go over that history. I have to go over that history, what I went through, what I wrote the last couple days about, about Mesopotamia and stuff, but I got to do it in a more organized fashion. But I wanted to post that thing about Genghis Khan, how I felt so strong. Because yes, my immune system was so strong, pushing those little freaking little demons through my immune system up to here and releasing. So I can release it. And I can blow my nose and poop and pee. Like I had to urgently pee a couple days, like yesterday morning, like overnight, I had to urgently pee a few times. This last night, I peed like once. Like 3 o'clock in the morning is the witching hour. That's when everything starts growing. That's when everything starts doing its thing. 3 o'clock in the morning is really important. People die in their sleep at 3 in the morning. People don't wake up because they go through that energy conversion like I did, and they don't wake up because they got like a clog and they got a heart attack or a stroke. Like when I can feel the growth happen just like that, okay, at 3 o'clock in the morning, 3 in the morning, I know people die in their sleep at 3 in the morning. Because if you don't have an open immune system at 3 in the morning, and all that growth is just coming out right, almost like spontaneous, but it's not. But it seems like it's spontaneous because you feel it now. But I felt a couple days ago with the hives. But those hives, those growths had to work itself out. Those excessive colony-forming units had to work itself out of the body. And it had to come out through my pee, my poo, and through my respiratory system. Okay? So I can only imagine someone who has a weaker immune system, who has a weak release process. They get that kind of growth, bam, they're done. Because that's an aggressive, spontaneous growth. That was already an indicator from the hives. And though if someone got a hives like I did the other day, and they treated it, and so they pushed that energy back in the body, right? When you think about it, they push the energy back in the body, and they also develop more demons to metastasize and can be converted against them. Then imagine when another energy conversion causes more excessive bloom, and all the conditions are right. Yeah, they don't wake up. They have a heart attack, stroke, aneurysm, or they drown in their own mucus. And so, yeah, because when I had the cough, like when I coughed a few times, like I had a sore like up here, not even down here. Then the arm pain was my shoulder. I felt like I could barely bring my arm up like this. I could barely do that. But the last, like only a few times where I would cough and I would feel the pain in my shoulder because there's my lymph nodes. Right now, my lymph node is really weak or raw underneath. So that's an open, which means that the body's releasing through my lymph nodes, on both lymph nodes. One is on one side the other day, and now it's on this side. That's an open immune system when you're able to cough and it's painful, and you have a open armpit that, I mean, it's not like super raw, but it like I feel it, and there's liquid that comes out a little bit. It's wet, not just sweat. But it's your body, those are your lymph nodes, like under your boobs and the back of your legs and all that. You have to go Google where your lymph nodes are, and that's where your body should be releasing if it's that bad. And so, welcome to the new world. They are cleaning the earth right now. We're going through what you call another evolutionary leap. The Neanderthals were screwed out of existence, and so are the other hominids. We might have a few touches of Homo floresiensis, which is like the Hobbit. I don't know if that might be the contributing reason why there's I would say little people in our society, and I wouldn't call them Homo floresiensis because they're mostly modern human with a touch of that, and science can go and talk about that if they ever put that out there. And so yeah, so we're going through another energy conversion, and now instead of just targeting one specific population, they're letting everybody screw each other until the strongest person out of that whole fornication, the macro level is the one left standing. And that's what you're in. You're in a major evolutionary sequence, a major evolutionary one. And now now you have the choice to be a tolerant human being who's not a threat to humanity, because the Neanderthals were a threat to humanity. You have a choice to be a tolerant, productive, when you finally release the demons, and strategic member of society who's peaceful. And that would require a major life change, like a serious one. And so I changed my life 7 years ago. And even though right now you would think that, oh, you're not very strong, you're sick, Jillian. No, I'm surviving what could be a died suddenly or a potential cancer diagnosis. Because that's what growths come from. That's where people get their tumors and they get their fast-moving cancers, because they don't release the demons. They keep them stuck in their body and they compound the issue. Well, the strength now is not so much Genghis Khan, like riding like the wind and covering so much territory and raping and pillaging. Now it's weathering the environment that's riding like the wind, and your body is being raped and pillaged by the things inside of it. And now you have to fight the battle within and release the demons and survive another day. Everything's inverted now. So you look at history and who the strong people were, like way back then. Now you reverse it, and it's the littler strategic person who's going to kick Goliath's ass. And that's essentially very biblical. We're in a microbial biblical type of war, with a little bit of the war out there over there in the Middle East. So that's all I'm going to say. Thanks. Bye.